we're going to be PPFing the trunk liftgate right here. So we're going to start with this. There's not a lot of removals, but we do recommend removing this little panel. So what's a little bit different about the newer Y is that this actually comes off. We're not going to remove it all, but go ahead and open up your liftgate. Just so you can see, we're going to be removing these two bolts right here. What this does, it actually loosens it up, which means that we can get film underneath that area. So I have my T20 right here. These two are actually different sizes. So go ahead and use a ratchet tool. Oops, wrong way. Oops, yeah, I was going the right way. And then we're going to be using, that was a T20 and this was a T27. So we're just going to be doing the same thing. So typically, you don't necessarily have to remove it all the way, but just because it's so close to being fully removed, we're going to go ahead and remove it all. That's all you need to do, guys. So this is actually longer. Just keep in mind the one closer to the front of the car is actually tiny like this. And then the other one is pretty long like that. So it goes like this, okay? Put it in a safe place, and then we're going to go ahead and close the liftgate. And then look at now, you can actually lift this up and look at all this space right here, and you can get the film under that area, okay? So that's why, that's a reason why we did that, okay? Let me go ahead and grab the pieces. So just like everything else, we're gonna go ahead and wipe it down real quick, okay? Get some of this alcohol and water. Let's get the edges, okay? It does fold over quite a bit, so you wanna get deep inside that area. This one as well. And then in this case, we're gonna go ahead and open it back up because you just have much better coverage at this point. Then go ahead, okay? We're gonna close it back down. And lastly, we have this edge to clean up as well. It shouldn't be too dirty, but sometimes it can still get a little dirty. So I'm just gonna go ahead and get some of that dirt. So now we are ready to start installing. We're going to grab our slip solution, which is right here. We want to make sure that it's actually closed so we don't get any water in there. All right. And then go ahead and just spray all over that. As mentioned, I actually already have the piece hydrated and a lot of slip underneath the film. We're gonna go ahead and grab it. So just as you lift it, make sure you're spraying and hydrating so it doesn't stick to each other. We got this piece right here. We're just gonna lay it down, just gently like so. And actually there is a good amount of element right here that it wraps around from. Okay, so you can see now, because I loosened this up, this can go a little bit lower, which is really, really nice. The main thing is make sure it's moving around, because right now, okay, now it's moving around. So here's the first point of alignment. So it's just gonna go right up to it and it's gonna be right underneath it. So here's the alignment point. Let's get some closer right there. You see how it's right inside and right underneath that line. Once you get that line, go ahead and peel it back just a little bit. Spray that tack solution. We got this little 1L right now that we're using. Perfect. And then we're just gonna go all the way out this way, okay? Notice this has a little soft band right here because it goes all the way in. There's a lot of edge that you can go down there. Now we're gonna go to the other side. There's not a lot of stretch right here, but you wanna just pull this and you can see all this edge that goes all the way around. So this is the alignment right here. There might be a seal right there, so just be careful around that, making sure that we're getting underneath some of that seal. We're gonna go ahead and get this edge right here, this little corner first. And then let's go ahead and get this right here. Okay. And again, really getting underneath that area. So once that's good, we're gonna go ahead and also spray some tack solution into that corner right here. And then spray some more tack into this valley. And go ahead, and we got all of this down right here. So we got all of this about 2 inches into that area, completely down. Now, if it's been some time And I'm going to assume some of that because these are, this may be your first time doing this. You can actually go underneath it like so and make sure you have it hydrated, and this is all moving, right? So this is a really nice flat surface right here. There's some fingers here. That's really not a problem at all. What I do is I split it down the half point. So this is the half point right here. And I can now go down, right? Because we split it in half now, you just need to go up. So I like going from here, and then you can start pushing all of that out, like so. Okay, and then we can actually work towards here. There you go. Great, we're gonna do that one more time, the double take. So we're gonna just go ahead and split it down the middle, and then go downwards, and then go up, okay? Don't worry about all these fingers, those will come out super easy. We're gonna go ahead and tackle that right off the bat. I'm gonna go to the other side right here. Just go ahead and spray some tack solution all up in there, okay? And then what we do, starting from the top, we're just gonna go ahead and pushing that out like so. Look at that. And then since we're already here, let's go ahead and push this all down. I like starting from the top right here. And it gets a lot of coverage right here. The biggest thing, guys, in this step is really focusing on that soft edge because, again, water likes to sit right there. So you want to make sure that you're really going over those edges. And then just work your way all the way down. There's plenty of space, guys, right in the rear windows right here. And then use this little tiny part right here to really get that down. And then you'll get to this point. And then go ahead and use the pointy part as well. Great. So now you're wondering on this side, well, you don't have to do what I just did on the other side. You're going to go ahead and use the pointy side and then just kind of release it. You don't want it sticking anywhere. And then we're going to go ahead and open this up. Okay, you see how it didn't stick anywhere? That's very important because if it did, it might actually lift up your hard work and actually come up while you're trying to do that. So we're going to go ahead and starting from the top so it runs down, spray a lot of those tack solution, let it sit, okay? So before I actually fold over all the edges, here's the thing. You want to really focus on this edge right here because, again, water likes to sit all around this. So we're going to make sure that all the water is off the edge, okay? Once you do that, and you can actually see some of this moisture that's just sitting, but you can see it traveling down all across right here, okay? So once you do that, there's two ways, and I've been showing actually two different ways. And we try to do that because I think it's important to show what you're, again, we want to be mindful of the fact that, you need your car, right? So if you don't have a lot of time, you can do this right away. It might take a little bit more time, but basically you make sure that it's over this edge like so, like this. And if you notice, this is what I'm talking about. You see how I grabbed that edge? That's exactly what you want. And then after that, you're going to fold it over slowly, right? And then you got this area right here, okay? And you're going to be doing that. Take this slowly, guys. Don't try to hurry this up. The other option is to dry it all out. So like I did in some of the other modules, I'm going to do not do this, but I'm going to use a microfiber to actually dry the edges just for, it's not a bad idea, but I just don't want to risk any like moisture getting in there. And then make sure the other side is completely dry. So assuming you waited about 2 hours or so, this should be pretty warm by now in room temperature. All you're going to be doing is running your fingers. First off, you're going to be using the edge. And after, you're going to be folding over and letting it grab. Right now, it hasn't fully dried, but it actually grabbed really well. So those are the two options. You're going to go ahead and do the same, whatever fits your lifestyle, or whether you need the car right away. You can actually do it in both ways. I prefer to wait because if I'm doing a full wrap, I have a lot more panels to do. So just do that, do the next one, do the next one, and then that should, by the time you get back to it, it should be fully dried and you can actually fold it over. So once you're done, I typically try to not do this right away. So for example, the trunk liftgate is pretty large, right? So of course I didn't do all that, but you have this section, and you have this where the badges are. I typically do here, and then I do the badge area, and then I do this. That way you give a little bit of time for this to dry and settle before you actually start spraying a bunch of stuff in that area. So that's how you do the top part of the liftgate. We are now going to be PPFing the rear bottom portion of the rear liftgate. So we'll go ahead and spray some tack solution all the way across. We're going to go ahead and do our plastic wipe down. My microphone is actually inside. We're going to go ahead and have it open like this, and just for the camera, we'll kind of stop it right here. Just do a really quick wipe down all over. And while it's up like this, we're going to go ahead and get all the edges as well. So I had already sprayed some tack solution in this. And then I would also run it through the squeegee and get underneath right here. Okay? And we're just getting a little bit of that dirt and spray all this slip solution all the way across. Then we're going to go ahead and do a quick cleaning. So just go down. You're getting all that contamination off before we get started. Let's go ahead and spray it all over. You do want a lot right here, so just make sure you feel like you did enough. I'm going to go ahead and grab it. You're going to grab it with 2 hands and then just place it exactly how you see it. All right, so I got my piece right here, right there. Go ahead and grab my solution. Spray the top. All right, we're going to start with the left side. So go ahead and spray it down. This is moving. You just want to make sure that it's fully moving. And then let's go ahead and make sure that this corner right here is completely aligned. And that is also completely aligned. So that, I'm very happy about that. Go ahead and spray some tack into this area. You can see perfect. Let's go ahead and tack it all down, leading all the way up right here. Okay. Once that's good, we're going to go ahead and grab this line right here as well. Okay. All right, and then this one is going to be right here, and then so make sure that corner is completely good as well. So we got the top down, and then we also got this bottom corner down. Okay. We'll go ahead and spray some of this tack slip solution, Make sure this is also out. You're going to just move it around just a tiny bit. Okay. And all you're doing, guys, is just making sure this dual motor is perfect. You want it even like so. Just kind of move it around and hold it down the middle. Okay. And next we are just going to be focusing on getting everything surrounding that dual motor badge. So that looks really good. I want to start squeegeeing. Okay, all the way across. Okay, I got a little bit of that finger, that's okay. 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 Okay, there we go. All right, so we have this dual motor area completely squeegeed out, and just do a double take real quick. So you have a lot of exit points. You could go out this way. You could also go out this way. So make sure you're not going into the tack points right here, right? Just making sure. So now that that's done, we're gonna go ahead and do another spray real quick, making sure that everything is completely hydrated. Okay, and now there is gonna be a tiny, tiny stretch all across. And when you do the stretch, you don't wanna stretch on the edge right here. You wanna stretch from the middle all the way into that corner. So let's go ahead and grab the tack solution right here and go ahead and move it all the way across. And that looks really good right there, okay? So now that you're comfortable with that stretch, go ahead and spray some tack, move it across. right into that, hold it, and then tack that down, okay? Don't worry too much about right here yet. And then in this case, you're gonna do the same thing. You're gonna pull this in a little bit and spray some tack. There you go. And then at this point, you can make sure that this is really good. It fits right there. And then you can start going outwards. Okay. And do the same thing up to the badge. You're just going to squeegee into that. That's an exit point right there. And then right there as well. And then away from that tack point. Okay, we're going to do a quick double take. So go out. And then outwards. All right, so now the only thing left is this middle portion right here. If you need to hydrate it a little bit more, you could go from the top, and you can see that it travels down, but it also means that you can move this around a little bit more freely, like so. So just make sure you check all these big bubbles. This looks fantastic. There's actually a little bit more edge at the top, but there's no big bubbles right here. Just gonna hold it right here down the center, and you can start moving everything down the middle. Okay, that's staying right here, there now, and I could start moving it all the way across, down. All right, so we're just gonna go ahead and finish the bottom section now. Go ahead and start pushing everything down. There's a lot of water. There's a small finger right here, but we can kind of distribute that a little bit, and we'll get that out a little bit later because it's right at the edge. Next, we're going to go ahead and focus on all this. So to do that, we're just going to go ahead and just push it upwards. Make sure you start a little bit before that soft edge, and then go all the way up, okay? And work your way all the way to the other side. Once you get that first round done, then you can spray the tack solution and then really seal that. And during this step, you're looking for any persistent bubbles that you didn't get out prior to this. And you just push it all the way out this way. Great, so now that this is good, you can do another double take real quick. Make sure that everything is coming out. And then I think we're ready to open it up real quick. So let's go ahead and open this up. Stop it right there, maybe a little higher, and we'll leave it roughly around this section. So let's go ahead and tackle some of these right here that are already here. I'm just gonna go ahead and spray some tack solution. This is a pretty big one, but that's not a problem. Just spray some tack into this. And I typically handle 1 or 2 at a time, and then I will make sure that it just stays. Okay, same thing here, spray some more tack. Okay, just continue to go left to right. Get rid of all this. All right, so we have a couple fingers right here as well. Actually, this side looks good. We're gonna go ahead and spray some tack solution to making sure that all the edges are completely good. A couple more right here. Kind of go in a sideways motion. And when you are doing this, one of the key things that we try to explain is what we're trying to do also is getting rid of some of these bubbles. So you see these bubbles right here? That's actually causing it for the adhesion to not work as well as it should. So the tack solution is actually flushing some of that out, which makes it a little bit easier. So in this case, we have a lot more tack right here. Sorry, not tack, some wrinkles. Just spray all of that. Just tackle one at a time. Just go side to side. Let's see if we could do this right here, and then there you go. Far better. Great. So now all the edges are good. In this case, I would highly recommend actually letting this sit for a bit before actually folding it over. So I'm going to show you what to do though. Before we let it sit, you do want to spray all this tack solution all across here, and then of course on this side as well. And then once it dries out, and I'm just going to mimic what it would look like if it completely dried out. I don't recommend actually using a microfiber to do this. So what you want to do is once it's completely dry, front and the piece itself, and then also there's no moisture around it, you do want to start right here, and anytime there's a high point right there. So you just run your finger across this way, just wrap it around like so. And then you can start working out the other side. And then you also want to start working your way away from that high point. And just go slowly. And when you're doing this, if you look at my thumb, really focusing on really getting that edge and then going around afterwards. So this motion right here, and then this is going to tuck all this edge right here. So you get a really good protection everywhere else as well. Okay, so that's how much. That's pretty much how you do it. The rest of the edges are exactly the same. You do want to let this sit. This looks really good. This is a line. This is a line. In some of our kits, we actually do have a kit where you could remove this, but that obviously adds a little bit more work. So just make sure if that's what you want, you pick the right variation. But the liftgate is pretty much done. I'm going to go ahead and close this off. So we are going to be doing this panel right here. It's still slightly removed, meaning it's still loose, which it doesn't have to be. It's really for the first piece, but we're going to get this prepped real quick. So let's go ahead and spray some tack solution all the way across. Use our microfiber, give it a nice wipe down. Okay. It actually doesn't go over that edge. It does go over the side edges. So we're going to go ahead and remove this squeegee. Spray some more tack solution, and we're going to go ahead and grab just the side, like so. Okay, great. Let's go ahead and spray some more slip solution all across here. And we're going to do the final sweep. I'm going to go ahead and clean my squeegee. Then hydrate it again before we get our piece. Make sure you get every single square inch of this area. I'm going to go ahead and grab my piece. It's already hydrated, ready to go. Same thing, you want to peel it, spray it, go to the other side, spray it, and then bring it here. All right, so I got my piece right here. Let's go ahead and grab it with 2 hands and lay it down like so. You're not really worried about the alignment just yet. We're just trying to get it down for now, okay? So we're just going to loosely align it actually though. And we're going to go ahead and grab our smaller squeegee. So I have my squeegee here, and then my smaller squeegee. I'm going to go to the other side so I don't block any of the images. And all you're trying to do is align this little section right here. You notice how it actually goes out into the wing. This line is right inside that edge, and that's exactly what I want. Okay. Once you feel comfortable, go ahead and spray some of that tack solution all the way across. And then just move it around like so until you feel comfortable. And then go ahead, and right now it's a little moving around right here. Okay, once you feel comfortable, this is what it should look like. You see how it's right inside, and then go ahead and squeegee that out. And that tack should really grab right there and hold that down. Okay, that's all you're trying to do. And then right now it's still moving around. It has a nice little movement in the film itself. And then we're going to do the same thing on the other side. So we're just focusing right here. There's a very, very small amount of stretch, and I'm talking very little, okay? So you want to twist it just a little bit to make sure that this aligns properly. So this can be a little challenging, but it's a pretty easy alignment for the most part. Okay, there you go. So I got my, oh, I pushed a little too hard. So that's another tip. Just make sure that you're not pushing too hard. And at first I go a little lighter. Okay. All right, so now that we have both sides completely done, what I'm gonna do is make sure this is all free. When I say free, this is all moving. And since I'm already on this side, you're going to make sure that this line is perfect. And you're gonna hold this down and just squeegee it outwards into this area, okay? While holding the middle first, okay? So the middle is right there. Okay, and you can see it moving a little bit. So once you get to the middle, I like just spraying a little bit of tack, and then you can just pull it from the back right here, and continuing to work your way across. So now that's stuck, and then you can see that everything kind of aligns naturally once you have it up. So all my line is very, very clean right here. So then I can just move all of this up. And this is the time you can still kind of move it around a little bit, up and down, and that's really what you're trying to do. I'm gonna do that one more time and go outwards so I can make sure I clean all that line up. So next, all you're trying to do is getting all the water to the bottom. So we're just gonna use a small squeegee. Don't worry about this edge yet. You're just going to overlap by 50% at least and just work your way all the way down. And if you're wondering, this is a lot of edge that goes all the way across, but that's on purpose because it's far harder to actually align and seam right into that line compared to when it's past it and then you're actually aligning to the bottom part of that edge, okay? So that's what we're doing. We're gonna do a double take. So just go ahead and make sure you have some lubrication on the top. You're gonna do the same thing. You're just gonna move it all the way down. Give it a little bit more oomph to this part. So you're trying to get all the excess slip solution underneath out. All right, so next, we're gonna have to seal this. And it's very important to seal all of that before we actually move on. So we're gonna go ahead and start with this side. And just spray tack solution all the way across, okay? And we're just gonna start from the middle, okay? So when you do this, watch what I'm doing here. Make sure I really fold over. Boom, like this. You're gonna work your way, kind of folding over like that. And that's how it should look like, okay? So you're gonna do the same thing. There you go. And just continue to work your way down. Okay, there you go. This is a patient process, but you definitely want to go slower than faster. Certain areas like here, you just spray more tack solution. And then once that tack is sprayed, it's gonna hold a lot better. It activates that adhesion a little bit more. So I like holding that tack solution on my left hand or your less dominant hand. Kind of run that line all the way across. Okay. The main thing when you do this part, and the pro tip here, is very, very important to really focus on making sure that there's no moisture right down the center. If there is, there's still a channel that goes left and right because we haven't sealed everything. Move that moisture to the left or to the right, whatever is a shorter distance, right? Let's just say I accidentally close this off like that. You can still move it to the left and try to get all that out. Or you could just peel it off and then just redo it. That's another option, right? Okay. So this whole section is completely down. I'm gonna go ahead and do this real quick as well. It's exactly the same in terms of the instructions on how to do this. So I'm gonna go ahead and do it a little faster. And if you wanna go a little faster, you could use a bigger squeegee too. But in the beginning, I recommend using a smaller one so you can actually see what you're doing. compared to, when you have a bigger squeegee, you're doing a lot more surface area, which means you won't be able to see as much, okay? So that's another downside to it, and that's why I use a small squeegee at first. Okay, we're almost done, so I want to go ahead and just use this smaller squeegee. Great. So before we move on, there's going to be a couple more areas that it hasn't completely sealed. So you're just going to run your fingers on those areas, making sure it's completely sealed, okay? There should be no lifting. So like this is an example of that area. You could just kind of run your fingers across. If you see any bubbles, this is the time to resolve it. All right, so right now, I do actually have a little bit of bubble right here. So you could just push it all down. There we go. Just continue. Great. I do recommend getting a microfiber and also just running through that line, and you'll be able to see a lot better of which areas you might have to work on. Like for example, like this area didn't fully stick, this didn't, and you could also use a microfiber to kind of push these areas down before moving forward. So why is this part very important? Well, we are going to be seaming the second piece to this area. So if you have some of this area that's lifting, which means that you won't really get a super clean seam, right? So just keep that in mind. And this is why this part is very important. I mean, you can see a slight lift right there, right? And then go ahead and just take another look at it real quick. So now we're going to be doing the bottom piece. So go ahead and spray some slip solution all the way across. I already have the back or the piece completely hydrated. So I have it right here. So this is very, very similar in terms of the install. It's a little bit more awkward because it goes like that. And there's a little bit of a curve right here. However, it is the same as far as laying it down, okay? So I kind of loosely laid it down. Obviously not a very great alignment, but that's okay. We're just trying to get it aligned first. We're gonna start on this side since that's what we started out. I am gonna use my 1L, which is a lot easier, and making sure I don't block the camera. I'm gonna be on this side right here. And I don't know if you can see the line very well, but basically this corner is really what your first alignment point is. So I'm going to go ahead and spray some tack. And you can see that it is a perfect, making sure, guys, that this isn't going to overlap. That's really the key in this step right here. You really don't want to overlap any of this stuff. You also don't want to make sure that you're not tacking anywhere past this 1 inch mark right here. Okay, so there we go. Look at that. So this is a little bit overlap, and you can see this is what it looks like if it's too much. So I'm just going to go ahead and release this real quick. All right, and then let's go ahead and there you go. This is what it'll look like. And now I got about 2 inches tacked, and that's exactly what I want. So next, I'm going to go ahead and spray some more slip solution all the way across before I move this around. And since it's such a small piece, you could actually just spray into this area right here. And that's what I'm going to be doing. And now we're going to tack this section. So same thing, I'm going to try not to block anything. So you got right here, same angle, right? There's this tiny, tiny, tiny little stretch. So we're going to go ahead and spray some tack solution, and then making sure that this is a little higher. Look at that, fits perfectly now. So I'm just making sure that this is aligned right here with no overlap right there. And if you don't overlap, that seam almost hides away a lot easier. So that's kind of what you want. You got about 2 inches tacked down, and now you have this pendulum swing right here. You could pretty much go up and down as you'd like, and you could also hydrate it and get some of that slip solution underneath a lot easier. I just did that, so I'm not really worried about it. And the next part is we are going to kind of center out right here in the middle. So I'm just going to spray just a little bit of tack solution. You're going to move it up like so, and I'm just going to tack that. And look at this, no overlap at all. And you can see that I got this completely tacked down. Now you kind of have 2 quadrants right here, right and the left. Since I'm already on the right side, I'm going to go ahead and work on this. And this is all moving, guys. So don't worry too much about it, but you're going to be holding it like so and just squeezing it side, okay? And you're just going to hold it up like that. Same thing here. There's the line right there. Again, no overlap, guys. You don't want any overlap. You're going to slowly continue to push all of this into that. There you go. Look at that. So that's the goal. That's what you're trying to do. It's a little funky right here, but should be no issues in terms of all this. Go ahead and push it all down. Okay. And then we're going to go ahead and push this all down. I think that part's straightforward as far as that goes. Now, we're over here. There's some bubbles right here. You do want to get rid of bigger bubbles like so. We're going to do the same thing. We're going to pull it up. This fits perfectly. And do the same thing. Just move it around. Pull into that piece, right? Pull into that first piece that we installed. Then lastly, if this isn't moving, just kind of pop it up like this. Move it up. Okay, so there we go. There we go. And then there's some bubbles. Let's get rid of that first. And then there you go. So it is a process, but you just want to go a little slower as well. And then just make sure that you bring everything down now. Okay. And if you notice right here, it is slightly short right here. It's just a tiny bit short, and that's exactly what you want. And because the edge is a little bit past it, it's a lot harder to see because it actually angles out this way. So just keep that in mind, and then we should be good to go as far as all of this area. We are going to be doing a double take. So get that middle. Just go ahead, do the edges right here real quick. And then you can also do the finger test, making sure that there's no overlap in those edges right here. And go ahead and push this all down. Great. So that is it. We're going to do the edge sealing one more time. And what does that mean? Is you're going to go ahead and grab all this. I'll run my finger, just making sure that all these edges are completely down with tack. Then we're going to do the same thing right here. As you spray, just push this down all the way. And you're just making sure that everything is down. Okay. And of course, there's an edge right here. So we're going to show you how to actually get both of those edges down. So now we can just go ahead and spray some tack solution all across there. And then push this down. And we'll show you the other side, because I think we get a better shot, honestly. And then you're just focusing on really getting over this edge right here. All right, so we got this right here. Same thing, guys. You're just gonna spray some tack solution all up in there. All right, focus on the edge. Right here, look at that right here. So I'm focused on the edge first. Right, so I'm not really focusing on trying to get it underneath. I'm just focusing on this right here. Okay, let's go ahead and flush it out again. And even more tack. Start right here. Then you can actually focus a little bit more on getting it in there. Okay. This area might not stick right away. So what I would do is I would also, don't worry about it. You'll just kind of let it sit for at least 2 hours, let it completely dry out. So I'll show you what we will do and kind of mimic if it was dried out. So you see all this moisture right here, and just push it down like this, and it should stick a lot better than the previous section. Okay. There is a little plastic trim right here. So this is where you could actually go a little bit more underneath it, like this. So it's actually wrapping around and getting under this plastic area. It's fully sealed right here, and you're good to go. But it does make it a little bit easier. You could use the pointy part of your squeegee, get under that plastic trim. It is a little bit longer, but we did that on purpose so that plastic trim can kind of seal that, and it'll last a lot longer. It also looks a lot better from the outside perspective, since it really protects even the edges, including that. So that's how you get the top part of the rear liftgate.